Hey everyone, it's Erin of Hail Varsity. I'm joined by Brady and Jacob, also of Hail Varsity. I always say that like I haven't corralled somebody else in, but you never know. There is like a person with a leaf blower out front that I could have like gotten his feedback on, but for today it's just Brady and Jacob.
Sir, what do you think of the 335?
You can't see it, but we are sitting in front of a really nice window, which gives us great lighting. So we had a big Tuesday, a little bit of change of plans this week. We were originally supposed to see Thursday practice, but we ended up getting that swapped around. We saw Tuesday's practice. We heard from Matt Rhule. We heard from a number of players, including Ramir Johnson, Turner Corcoran, Jeff Sims. Am I missing anyone?
No, those were the three players.
That was the three. So a lot to cover. Let's start with practice first and foremost. Understanding we got about 40 minutes and it's more position work. But what were our main takeaways? Jacob, you had our full recap. So what were some main takeaways?
I think, and it kind of goes into what Matt Rhule talked about too. One thing that jumped out to me was the gray jerseys. Mm-hmm. That's new. They did not have those last week, and Rhule kind of talked about that. It's for two-way guys that could play either side of the ball. So Jaleel Martin was one of those guys today, where warmed up with the DBs, but when they got into wide receiver drills, he hopped over there and was going through them. They're a little light at wide receiver bodies today, Rhule said, so makes sense to throw an extra guy in there. A.J. Rollins is the other one, tight end out of Creighton Prep, who also played defense back in high school, and Rhule sounded really excited about him playing defensive line, kind of out there at that edge, that defensive end position. And sounds like that may be somewhere where he ends up sticking. He wasn't committed to that, and thing Rhule said is he's not going to force anybody to change positions. It's going to be kind of collaborative conversation. Where are you most comfortable? Where do you see the best future for you? Like, they're going to give their feedback and offer their opinions, but ultimately it's going to be the player decision. So that was probably the most interesting thing that I saw today.
Also, I apologize. I just squeaked my shoes like halfway through. So if you're wondering what that was me.
Kind of impossible on the surface.
Clean floors. Brady, what about you? What were your big takeaways from open practice?
Well, I thought it was interesting seeing a lot of the drill work. They're stressing, again, aggressiveness, ball hawkness, getting after it. Even just something as simple as like throwing the ball on the ground, on the wet, natural grass out there on the practice field. So they really wanted guys to get used to scooping down and scooping that up. We saw a little bit of the quarterback exchanges, both feet work and then just trying to get snaps under them. There were a couple of them that weren't perfect, so they really wanted to kind of stress that. And overall, I just thought it was noteworthy, like Matt Rhule said in our presser, that like usually this is one of the toughest days. I mean, you're coming off the energy and excitement of the first week, and especially a big Saturday. They came in, and even for a little bit, he kind of rallied the troops and was like, "Hey, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna have a good day of practice, have the energy," and then they responded to that and came out strong. So, I mean, overall, the second week of practice, spring ball, they're still kind of working on things. They're still just getting that repetition built up, but overall it's a good reminder that it's still just a work in progress.
Yeah, it's also a good reminder that when we are in the hallways of Memorial Stadium, that the sights and sounds of Memorial Stadium do not stop for us. So for me, like Jacob was saying with those gray jerseys, I did take note of that. I think it's going to be important that as we go through as a reminder, yellow is a signifier of an injury. Like, so you're going to see Casey Thompson, Logan Smothers, as they're working back, as they're taking it a little bit easier through spring ball, they're going to be in yellow jerseys. Green is no contact, as we know. Then everything else is about the same. So the grays were new today, as we already talked about. But I think for myself, the one thing that I keep, as we're getting used to a new type of practice that we're watching, because it is different. It's different from what we've seen the last few years. The one thing they're really detailed. They're really, like, honestly, there are times where they're breaking down the fundamentals of football. And it's not that like these guys don't know how to play football. It's not that they are like, but they're just breaking it down because this is also for a lot of them the first time they've ever played together. Yeah. So they're breaking things down very, very specifically.
And kind of Rhule talked about at the end, you see out there's a bunch of mixed groups. It's not straight position, not straight offense, defense. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going through these drills. You'll see defensive linemen, linebackers. You'll see tight ends mixed in there, like offense, defense, and they'll switch. Like, there was one competitive drill today where it's basically defender jamming the guy at the line, and the offensive player has to get past him and get through cones. And got pretty heated between a couple guys in particular who were talking back and forth to the point where Coach Bob Wager had to hey, tell them to shut up so we can continue with the drill. Like, and like, that's obviously you don't want to see throwing punches, but a little trash talk, a little competition. That's good to see. And again, like they started with the offensive player, on offense, defense player. And he called them back out like after they went one rep and tried to flip it around. Like the defensive player wanted to go on offense against him, and then the whistle sounded. They had to move on to the next drill. So we didn't get to see it, but that's the kind of stuff like mixing them around, giving guys a chance to just go through different positions. It's just a complete evaluation period right now. Like you said, they're not even going to look at a depth chart until they get to the fall. Get through that. Right now, everybody's working everywhere. They're just trying to see, all right, where are you most comfortable? Kind of see the traits. That's something you talked about. That's what they're evaluating now, not necessarily, all right, how good of a player is you? What kind of player can you be? Where do you fit best? Where do we see you in the future of this program?
And he did say like spring is the time to do that because they don't have to lock somebody in for sure in spring. They can kind of try different things, take chances on things and let them kind of just see how it goes. And honestly, kind of just, we won't recap everything that they said because you can watch all of those videos right here on this YouTube channel that you're watching this video on. So I encourage you to go watch Jeff Sims, Ramir Johnson, Turner Corcoran, and Matt Rhule because Matt Rhule spoke for like 20 minutes, which is like a long time after a practice. But like listening to Jeff Sims, like he talked a lot about the type of like the working he's had to adjust. He's working with other players, so he talked about Casey Thompson is a natural born leader, their relationship, but then also Ramir Johnson shared a little bit of his insight, which was about he's still kind of switching between wide receiver and running back, but like he didn't have a great jersey. He is definitely listed as a running back, but he's willing to do whatever. So I think the thing that I took away from listening to all of them is they're one, helping and working with each other, but they're also just about willing to do anything that's asked of them at this point. Because again, spring is to do exactly that.
Yeah, it kind of speaks to the greater theme of like what Rhule wants to do is bring this team together, build up the camaraderie. They're very basically everything they do has some sort of intricacy of wanting to bring them together, keep guys close, from the ping pong games all the way down to
there's a pickleball court, right? Well, not pickleball court. They have a pickleball net so they can set up a court down there.
Yeah, and the whiteboard in case they need to draw pickleball plays right down there. So.
Well, I'm going to leave you with this because this is the most important thing you will learn from this video if you stuck around this far, and you can comment on this. Matt Rhule is incredibly, apparently, well known to be a great pickleball player, except for he said that the young guys are giving him a run for his money, and he basically, when asked, are you the best pickleball player around here? He hesitated to say that it's basically him against other people his age, he wins. Everybody younger, he's got to get himself up to speed. So we'll see if that changes through spring ball. He's got some work to do himself, it sounds like.
Now's the time to do it.
Now's the time to work on it. But yes, they do have the pickleball court. But I did appreciate the honest evaluation of his own game where he's like, if I'm playing people like my age, I got it. People younger, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, he's got to finesse his way around.
Well, we'll have plenty more to come at hailvarsity.com, so be sure to check that out. Go subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow us everywhere, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, I don't know, wherever your chosen social media site is, we will have updates there as well. We appreciate you always watching. I appreciate both of you for letting me corral you into another video. Next week, it's those people walking outside that you can't see. But leave your questions, comments, we'll get to them later. Thanks for watching.